Hello and welcome back to my channel, and excuse the sniffles. I got a little bit of an allergy issue going on. Today's video is going to be about that knife and the reason I bought it and a review of all the functions. First of all, every Swiss Army knife that I pretty much have will have loop, cord, and I'll go over why I do that later in the video. This is the Swiss Champ XLR or extra large. This is the Swiss Champ, and this is the Cyber Tool L or Cyber Tool Large. The reason I picked this knife up right here is because it's got every tool that both of these combined has. And I mainly carried this one, but there were times when I needed this driver. So it's always a question of which one do I take. I mainly took this one. Well, this one allows me to have all the tool sets plus 3 other ones. That's not on either one of these knives. The other issue that I hear a lot is this is a big honking piece of metal, and it weighs heavy in the pocket and it's hard to carry. I'm going to show you how I carry this knife to eliminate that problem, to make it easy to carry without having to deal with the weight or even the size. So let me go ahead and show you that, and then I'll get on with the review. The best way I found to carry the larger Swiss Army knives is on a belt clip or belt loop that has a clip on it. This right here attaches to the belt slides through it, or you can Velcro around it. It's got a clip on it, and I cut a loop or make a loop into the keyring holder to put this on. The way this works, now the bottom of my pocket is about right here. So this slides in, and all the weight is on my belt and not the bottom of my pocket. And if I move it to the back, as you can see, keys come in, keys come out, no extra weight in the pocket, completely out of the way, and it allows me quick release, carry a sizable knife in my pocket without the added weight and tearing up my pocket. And then I hold it like this, bring it into the clip, drop it in my pocket, and I'm good to go. And that's how I carry the larger knives. This setup even works for the Ranger Grip 78. It will work for the Hercules and any knife similar to that, even the large knives it works with. But that's how I carry my Swiss Champ extra large. Okay, really like this knife. I've had it for about 2 weeks. Like my other Swiss Army knives, I used at least once a day, sometimes 3, 4, 5 times a day. This is the same way. I would hate to be without it. I really like it. It's in the ruby red. So I've got a ruby blue, ruby red, and black knives. And this is all this one came in, is a ruby red. So, you know, I didn't really have a choice in that, but I'd have probably gotten it anyway. All right, on to the knife. Tweezers come in handy. A lot of people are gonna, when they see this, they've got tools they say are useless, and I'm gonna explain those tools. The other one is the pen. And with the pen, for those that haven't seen it, Every time I do this for the video, it takes me a long time to get it in there. And then you can write with it easier rather than trying to do that. And on my Swiss Army knives, I get rid of the toothpick because I carry a little pen knife with a toothpick, and I put in a Firefly ferrule rod to start fires. Excuse me. This allergy's killing me. All right. Micro screwdriver always comes in handy. Straight pin. Taking off splinters or taking out splinters comes in real handy. Popping little kids' balloons. Whatever you want to use it for. This is a chisel blade. That actually comes in handy a lot of the time if you're doing bushcraft. It's a real handy blade and it's real sharp. Now, the configuration of these blades are different than on the Swiss Champ or the Cyber Tool. Same tools, there's just a switch on these two. Parcel hook, besides using it with the pen, as I've stated before, moving bob wire out of the way, picking up parcels. If you carry bank cord with you, you can use it to carry wood and a bunch of different stuff. I use this to make wire snares when I'm making those, and it really comes in handy for that. So does the Phillips screwdriver that on some knives is right there. Little screwdriver. This is also good if you're bleeding propane lighters. When they empty, you want to bleed all the air out of them. And this will kind of fit in there for most of those. Press it down and it bleeds it off real nice. This is the sewing needle awl scraper. This is good to drill holes, good to sew with. This is a really important tool to have on a knife. Okay, let's start on this end. Can opener, little screwdriver, and this will open cans just fine. Big flathead, bottle opener, wire bender, wire bender. On some knives you can use this to aid in stripping, but this has to be real close to the big blade to do that, and this one just isn't, so it's a wire bender. When I bought the Swiss Champ, I was a little bit worried about how much this is going to be used and how useful it was. I was used to the kind that sits back here. I really like this. Comes in handy. I like it better than the screwdrivers on the back. Use that quite a bit. They say you can start fires with this. I'm assuming you can. I've seen people do it. I have never been able to manage it. Haven't tried that hard. I'm 63 years old. Fine print's a problem. So this is actually comes in useful a lot more than what you would think. A lot of people don't like these because they say they're too small. And you have your wire cutter, your pliers, and this right here, this indention, is a crimper for a certain type of electrical connection. So, and I use this on two of my rifle scopes. I use this to take them on and off. It works pretty good and I always have it with me. This is one of the tools that I liked carrying it with me, but I also liked the tools that the Swiss Champ had. So I was always torn between the two, but now I don't have to worry about that. Locks in two positions. Comes with extra bits. And I think there's a company where you can get different style of bits for these. I'm not going to do that. Now, this is one of the tools that people, please do not, if somebody asks you about this, don't say it's for cocaine, because that's been 20 million times I've heard that. It's ridiculous. This is a medical suppressor or something. They call it some kind of medical tool. It's like a tongue suppressor. People say, what do you use it for? Well, you can actually spread peanut butter with this. But if you have to deal with some of the newer mouse traps with the little cup, really itty bitty little cup you have to put the bait in, I've used it. This works great. This is the best thing I've ever seen. When I got to load a mouse trap, this is what I reach for all the time now, because this really works. For the fishermen, if you got worms, you want to get them to the top of your little bait box, you just stick that in there. So this, when I bought this knife, this was actually the second tool I used, because I had to set a mouse trap. This is more important than what people think. And here's my opinion. If you got a tool on a knife that you say is absolutely useless, you're not trying hard to use that knife, or you ain't trying hard enough. Ow. Hook bill. And this is one of the tools, like quite a few of them actually, that when I seen it, I thought, it's nice, but I've got the other blades I'm used to. I probably won't, it'd be nice to have, but I won't use it. I use this now instead of the small blade. For opening packages, for opening bags, for opening boxes, this is far better than the small blade. It just hooks in, pull it, and it's through. I really like this blade. I use it a lot. This blade you can open boxes, packages with too. I don't use it as much as the other one. This right here is sharp. And I use this part of this blade more than the flat part. You cutting cord and stuff, cutting bank line, that really comes in handy. And I like this knife because it gives me a bunch of options like that. I just don't have a few options, I have a lot. Scissors, these are really good scissors. I had an old knife with a screw in it, and it always backed out and gave me problems. These don't have that. I like these a lot better. This is another tool people say is useless. I use this quite a bit too. Scale a fish, take the hook out. I've seen a video where a guy was using the tips to take on and off O-rings, which is always a problem, and he was doing it real quick. This ruler, I've measured it, it's accurate. You bend it like that, and to the very back of this is 3 inches exactly. So that comes in handy, and there's other uses for it. You can put this up to wood, put your pencil, and make sure the line is always 2 inches or whatever, or 3 inches. Love these saw blades. My Cyber Tool L, I actually cut a 2x4 in half with it because I didn't want to go back to the shop to get a saw. Bushcraft are wonderful. And that's what this is for. If you use this a lot, you're going to be replacing it. But put pressure on it, and that won't close on you. So if you're using it as a fire striker or scraping to get fine particles of wood, you don't have to worry about it closing on your hand. Wasn't my idea. It was a guy named Felix Umber from overseas, which he does a lot of great videos, but these are really nice. File, metal file. there's not much difference on either side of this. I hear people say you can use this on your fingernails. I just can't do that. To me, it just tears them up, and no, I'm not going to do it. But I have used it for sharpening sticks, smoothing them out. This is another very useful and important tool. Big blade. Sharp knife. Nice blade. I see this guy named Felix that he uses this for prepping food a lot, and I've never really done that, and I thought, oh, is it that good? So I started using this in the kitchen. I like it. A lot of times when I was out, I would carry extra knives with me if I had to cook or do any food preparations. I don't think I'm going to have to worry about that as much now. I mean, I might need a long knife, but anything else, this works just fine for prepping food. I was really surprised. I mean, I don't know why, but I was. Little knife. This used to be my most used blade. Boxes, packages, cordage, everything I was using this on. But now the hook bill is used more than this. I'm really impressed with that blade, but this is still very important to have. Now, this, and if I can keep from cutting myself. These are the 3 blades that I get extra that are not on either the Cybertool L or the Swiss Champ. And they're very useful blades. Even this one, which I'm glad I got on it. Overall, it's a wonderful knife. It's an extremely useful knife. If you carry it right, it's not too big and not heavy. Here's the thing with these. I hear people say, it's heavy, it's too big, you can't use it. And the fact is, yeah, it's very usable. It's just different, but it's usable. And a lot of the same people that will complain about this size and how it's too heavy and everything will carry a huge Leatherman or a huge multi-tool. Some of them even carry the ones that the pouches hold extra bits and stuff. And I'm going, you carry that and this is a problem? You're carrying a tool chest. I'm carrying a knife. And, you know, I don't know what it is, but I don't have a problem with this. It's easy for me to carry. I have a complete set of tools that I use. Now, I'm not saying everybody should carry this. If the thinner knives do you better, do that. The important thing is you want the knife that you're going to use, that it's going to have everything you need, and that you enjoy carrying. And for a lot of people, it ain't going to be this. It's going to be a thinner knife. I don't have a problem with the weight, the way I carry it. It doesn't clutter up my pocket the way I carry it. I just really like this knife. And when I got that Swiss Champ, I thought, well, man, this is the end of me having to worry about buying a new knife. Then I seen this, had a little bit of extra money, picked it up, and now it's like, man, I don't see me going back to the Swiss Champ. And the Swiss Champ is a great, great, great knife. I'm just putting it in a pouch, and I'll carry that on the belt occasionally, so I have both of them. And I'll still have the Cybertool with me. But this allows me to carry just one knife on a daily basis and have everything I know I'm going to need. And I don't have a problem with the size. I don't have a problem with the weight, especially the way I carry it. But as far as recommending it, this is a great knife, a wonderful knife, easy to use, and I would highly recommend it. You just got to look at, is this going to be too big for the way you want to carry it? Is it going to be too heavy for the way you want to carry it? And it very well may be, but if you can adapt to carrying it like the way I do or another way, this knife is real usable. It's not too big, and I'm going to say it's not too big for most people. It looks big and it looks scary as hell if you have to use it in a bushcraft. But once you get it in your hand and once you start using it, it's not. It's actually a really nice knife. But anyway, I've had this for about 2 weeks and just love the hell out of it. I use this probably even more than the Swiss Champ or the Cyber Tool just because it's got the extra tools. And I'm always thinking of new ways to use the tools on it because it's just so versatile. I mean, all their knives are, but for me, this is the one that I'm going to be carrying every day, probably from now on. The next size up for me is a little bit too big, too wide, too heavy. Everyone's got their thresholds. This is as big and heavy as I want to go. Some people, the Swiss Champ is the one that they're going to carry. But anyway, if you're interested in this, it's worth the money. I know it's expensive, but it's worth the money, and I've been real happy with it, been real happy with the performance. And as I say in my other video, Swiss made, victorinox. I consider these generational knives. They will be passed on to the next generation and the next generation. When you buy these, you're not just buying a knife for you, you're buying a knife for whoever you're going to pass this on to. And that just means quality and a lot of it. But anyway, thanks for watching the video.